Listen, I don't care about your feelings, I care about your money. And right now, if you're thinking about buying a house in certain states, you're about to make one of the biggest financial mistakes of your life. I'm Kevin O'Leary, and I've made millions in real estate. I've lost millions in real estate. And the difference between winning and losing comes down to one thing: data. Cold, hard, ugly data. And the data I'm looking at right now is screaming at me. It's telling me that there are 5 states in this country where you should not, under any circumstances, park your hard-earned capital in residential real estate. Not in the next year, not if someone puts a gun to your head. Now, before I tell you which states are on my kill list, I need you to do something for me. If you care about protecting your wealth, if you care about making smart decisions with your money, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Smash it. This channel is about financial survival. It's about making sure you don't get slaughtered in the marketplace while everyone else is telling you everything is fine. We deal in truth here, not hopium. So subscribe, become a member, join this community. Because what I'm about to tell you, most financial advisors won't have the guts to say. Let's get one thing straight. A house is not an investment. I know your parents told you it was. Your real estate agent is telling you it is. But I'm telling you the truth. A house is a place you live. It's a consumption item. It eats your money every single month. Property taxes, insurance, maintenance, the roof, the furnace, the foundation. It's a cash-eating monster. Now, can real estate be a good investment? Absolutely. I own real estate all over the world, but only if you buy in the right place, at the right time, with the right fundamentals. And right now, in these 5 states, the fundamentals are broken. They're not just broken, they're catastrophically bad. Here's what most people don't understand. When you buy a house, you're not just buying 4 walls and a roof. You're buying into an economic ecosystem. You're buying into a tax structure. You're buying into a regulatory environment. You're buying into a labor market. And most importantly, you're buying into a migration pattern. Where are people moving to? Where are businesses relocating? Where is capital flowing? These are the questions that determine whether your house goes up in value or becomes a financial anchor around your neck. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've seen boom and bust cycles that would make your head spin. I've seen people buy at the top thinking they were geniuses, only to watch their net worth evaporate. And I've seen smart investors wait, stay patient, and buy when everyone else was panicking. The difference between these two groups isn't luck. It's discipline. It's the ability to look at the numbers and ignore the noise. So why am I sounding the alarm right now? Because I'm seeing something that terrifies me. I'm seeing a massive divergence in this country. I'm seeing states that are becoming economic powerhouses, and I'm seeing other states that are becoming economic graveyards. And the gap is widening every single day. The states that are winning big. Low taxes, business-friendly regulations, people flooding in, capital pouring in, job creation exploding. And the states that are losing, they're losing catastrophically. High taxes, businesses fleeing, population decline, crumbling infrastructure, and real estate markets that are about to get absolutely demolished. Now I know what you're thinking. Kevin, you're being dramatic. It can't be that bad. Oh, but it is. And I'm going to prove it to you with numbers. Not emotions, not politics, not what you want to believe, just numbers. Because numbers don't lie. People lie. Politicians lie. Real estate agents lie. But numbers, they tell you the truth. Here's the thing about real estate markets. They move slowly until they don't. For years, you can have a market that looks stable. Prices are flat, maybe going up a tiny bit, and everyone thinks everything is fine. But underneath, the fundamentals are rotting, businesses are leaving, young people are leaving, the tax base is shrinking. And then one day, boom, the market cracks. And when it cracks, it doesn't just go down 10% or 20%. It can go down 30, 40, even 50%. And if you bought at the peak, you're wiped out. Your equity is gone. You're underwater on your mortgage. And you're stuck. You can't sell. You can't move. You're trapped. This is what I'm trying to save you from. This is why I'm making this video. Because I can see the cracks forming. I can see which states are about to fall off a cliff. And I don't want you to be the person holding the bag when it happens. Let me tell you how I analyze real estate markets. First, I look at migration data. Are people moving in or moving out? If net migration is negative, that's a red flag. Because when people leave, demand for housing drops. And when demand drops, prices follow. Second, I look at business formation and business exits. Are companies being created or are they shutting down? Are major employers staying or leaving? Third, I look at the tax environment. Are taxes going up or down? Because taxes are a cost. And in real estate, costs matter. Fourth, I look at regulations. How easy is it to build new housing? How easy is it to run a business? Because if it's hard to build and hard to do business, that's a problem. And fifth, I look at debt levels. How much debt does the state have? How much debt do the municipalities have? Because that debt has to be paid. And it gets paid through higher taxes, which drives more people away. When I run these 5 factors through my analysis, 5 states pop up as absolute disasters. These are states where every single metric is flashing red. And if you buy a house in one of these states, you're not making an investment. You're lighting your money on fire. Now, I'm going to walk you through each of these states. I'm going to show you exactly why they're on my avoid list. I'm going to give you the data, I'm going to give you the trends, and I'm going to explain what happens next. Because this isn't just about real estate. This is about the future of America. We're watching a massive reshuffling of economic power. And the states that don't adapt, the states that keep doing the same things that are driving people away, they're going to become economic wastelands. But before I reveal the first state, you need to understand something. This isn't about politics. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I care about your money. I care about whether you're making smart decisions or stupid decisions. And buying a house in the wrong state right now is a stupid decision. Period. End of story. So here's what I need from you. I need you to put your emotions aside. I need you to look at the facts. And I need you to be honest with yourself about what's really happening. Because the real estate market doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care if you love the weather or if your family lives there. It only cares about supply and demand. And right now, in these 5 states, the demand is dying. Are you ready? Are you ready to see which states are about to become financial quicksand? Good. Let's start with the first one. State number 1, California. Now, before you start yelling at me in the comments, let me be clear. I love California. I've made a fortune in California. I have investments in California. But I'm telling you right now, if you're a regular person thinking about buying a primary residence in California, you're making a mistake. Here's why. The tax burden in California is absolutely crushing. You've got state income tax that can hit almost 14% at the top bracket. You've got property taxes, you've got sales taxes, you've got gas taxes, you've got taxes on taxes. And what are you getting for all those taxes? Crumbling roads, failing schools in many districts, a homelessness crisis that's out of control, and wildfires that are getting worse every single year. But here's the real problem. The migration data is devastating. For years now, California has had net negative domestic migration. That means more Americans are leaving California than moving in. And who's leaving? The middle class, the people who actually pay taxes, the people who actually work and build businesses. They're fleeing to Texas, to Florida, to Tennessee, to Nevada. Why? Because they're tired of getting crushed by taxes. They're tired of regulations that make it impossible to do business. They're tired of paying $2 million for a house that would cost $400,000 anywhere else. Now, some people say, but Kevin, California has tech companies. California has Hollywood. California has the weather. Yeah, and you know what? Tech companies are opening massive offices in Austin and Miami. Hollywood is filming in Georgia and New Mexico because of tax incentives. And the weather doesn't matter if you can't afford to live there. Let me tell you something about real estate. Location matters, but value matters more. And right now, California real estate is overvalued by any metric you want to use. Price to income ratios are off the charts. Price to rent ratios are off the charts. The only reason prices haven't crashed yet is because of low inventory. But that's changing. As more people leave, as more houses hit the market, supply is going to overwhelm demand. And when that happens, watch out. Here's what really scares me about California. The state has massive unfunded pension liabilities. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars that they owe to retired government workers. How do you think they're going to pay for that? Higher taxes. And what happens when you raise taxes? More people leave. It's a death spiral. And if you own real estate in that death spiral, you're going down with it. State number 2, Illinois. Oh boy, where do I even start with Illinois? This state is a fiscal disaster. It's not heading toward a disaster, it's already there. Illinois has some of the highest property taxes in the entire country. In some counties, you're paying 2, 3, even 4% of your home's value every single year just in property taxes. Think about that. If you buy a $500,000 house, you could be paying $15,000 a year in property taxes alone. That's insane. That's more than some people pay in rent. And what's happening in Illinois? The same thing that's happening in California. People are fleeing, the population is shrinking, and it's not just people leaving, it's businesses leaving too. Major corporations have moved their headquarters out of Illinois. They're going to Texas, to Florida, to other states that actually want them. Boeing left, Caterpillar left, Citadel, the massive hedge fund, left. When billionaires are running away from your state, that should tell you something. Chicago, which is the economic engine of Illinois, is in decline. The murder rate is through the roof. Businesses are closing. The downtown is becoming a ghost town in some areas. And the state government keeps raising taxes to try to plug budget holes, which just drives more people away. It's the same death spiral I just described in California, but it's even worse because Illinois doesn't have the weather or the tech industry to fall back on. Here's the thing about Illinois real estate. If you buy a house there, you're not just buying the house. You're buying into a broken system. You're betting that somehow, magically, Illinois is going to turn things around. And I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. Not without massive structural changes. And those changes aren't coming because the politicians in Illinois are more interested in protecting their power than fixing the problems. State number 3, New York. Now, I know New York. I've done business in New York for decades. New York City is one of the greatest cities in the world. But let me tell you something. The state of New York is committing economic suicide. The taxes are outrageous. The regulations are suffocating. And the attitude toward business is downright hostile. I moved my personal residence out of New York years ago because I got tired of writing massive checks to a state government that wasted my money. And I'm not alone. Thousands of high earners have left New York. They've gone to Florida, which has no state income tax. They've gone to Texas, which has no state income tax. They've gone to Tennessee, which has no state income tax. Are you seeing a pattern here? People follow tax policy. Capital follows tax policy. And right now, capital is running away from New York as fast as it can. The real estate market in New York is being held up by foreign buyers and by people who are trapped in rent-controlled apartments. But that's not a sustainable model. As more companies allow remote work, as more people realize they can live anywhere, why would they choose to pay New York prices and New York taxes? They wouldn't, and they're not. Here's what's going to happen in New York. The tax base is going to continue to shrink as high earners leave. The state is going to raise taxes even more to make up for the lost revenue. That's going to push even more people out. And eventually, you're going to see real estate prices start to crack. Not in Manhattan, maybe. Manhattan has always been its own beast. But in the suburbs, in upstate New York, in the outer boroughs, you're going to see prices fall. And if you're the person who bought at the peak, you're going to lose a fortune. State number 4, New Jersey. New Jersey has the highest property taxes in America. Read that again, the highest. You can buy a modest house in New Jersey and pay $20,000, $30,000, even $40,000 a year in property taxes. That's not a mortgage payment. That's just the tax. And what are you getting for that money? Not much. The schools are good in some areas, terrible in others. The roads are a mess. The public pension system is broke. And the state is run by politicians who think the answer to every problem is to raise taxes. New Jersey is geographically stuck between New York and Philadelphia. It should be thriving because of that location, but instead it's dying. Why? Because people are tired of being taxed to death. They're tired of watching their neighbors move to Pennsylvania, which has much lower property taxes. They're tired of seeing businesses close or relocate. Here's the cold, hard truth about New Jersey real estate. The only reason it has any value at all is because of proximity to New York City. People live in New Jersey and commute to New York. But with remote work becoming permanent for many companies, that commute doesn't matter anymore. If you don't have to go to the office 5 days a week, why would you pay New Jersey prices and New Jersey taxes? You wouldn't. And that's why New Jersey real estate is going to get hammered. I talk to business owners all the time who have operations in New Jersey. And you know what they tell me? They're planning their exit. They're moving to the south. They're moving to the southwest. They're going anywhere but New Jersey. And when the businesses leave, the jobs leave. And when the jobs leave, the housing market collapses. State number 5, Connecticut. Connecticut is a perfect example of what happens when a state makes terrible policy decisions for decades. It used to be a wealthy state. It had insurance companies, financial services, manufacturing, but over time, the state government kept raising taxes. They kept adding regulations. They kept making it harder and harder to do business, and guess what happened? The businesses left. General Electric left. Aetna left. Countless hedge funds and financial firms moved to Florida. Connecticut has some of the most expensive real estate in the country, especially in Fairfield County. But here's the problem. That real estate is expensive because it used to be where wealthy New Yorkers lived to escape New York City taxes. But now, with remote work, you don't need to live near New York. You can live in Florida and pay zero state income tax. You can live in Texas and pay zero state income tax. So why would you stay in Connecticut and pay high property taxes, high state income taxes, and deal with winters that last 6 months? The answer is you wouldn't. And people aren't. Connecticut's population has been flat to declining for years. The young people leave as soon as they graduate college because there are no jobs. The wealthy retirees leave because they don't want to pay the taxes. And what's left is a shrinking tax base trying to support a massive state government and unfunded pension obligations. Here's what terrifies me about Connecticut real estate. The prices are still high in many areas because the inventory is low. People who own these houses don't want to sell at a loss, so they're holding on. But that can't last forever. Eventually, those homeowners are going to realize that nobody wants to buy their overpriced house in a dying state. And when they all try to sell at the same time, the market's going to collapse. Now, let me be clear about something. I'm not saying these states are going to disappear. I'm not saying everyone should pack up and leave tomorrow. What I'm saying is this: if you're thinking about buying real estate as an investment, if you're thinking about where to park your capital for the next 10 or 20 years, these 5 states are the wrong choice. The trends are against you. The fundamentals are against you. The numbers are against you. You know what I always say on Shark Tank? The numbers don't lie. And right now, the numbers in these 5 states are screaming at you to stay away. So what should you do instead? Where should you be looking? That's what I'm going to tell you next. So now you're probably asking, Kevin, if these 5 states are disasters, where should I put my money? What states are actually worth investing in? And that's the right question to ask. Because complaining about problems is easy. Finding solutions, that's hard. But I'm going to give you the framework to make smart decisions. First, let me tell you what I look for when I'm analyzing real estate markets. I want to see positive net migration. I want to see people moving in, not moving out. I want to see businesses relocating to the state, not fleeing from it. I want to see a business-friendly tax environment. Notice I didn't say no taxes, I said business-friendly, because taxes pay for infrastructure, schools, and public safety, but they need to be reasonable. I want to see a state government that lives within its means, that doesn't have massive unfunded liabilities that are going to turn into future tax bombs. And I want to see job creation, real jobs, not government jobs, private sector jobs that actually produce value. When I look at the country through this lens, a few states stand out. Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Arizona, North Carolina. These are states that are winning right now. And they're winning because they're doing the opposite of what California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut are doing. They have low taxes or no state income tax. They have reasonable regulations. They're attracting businesses like crazy, and people are flooding in. Now, does that mean you should run out and buy a house in Texas tomorrow? Not necessarily. Because here's the thing about real estate. Timing matters. And right now, because everyone knows these states are hot, prices have gone up significantly. In some markets, they've gone up too much too fast. So you need to be careful. You need to do your homework. You need to look at specific markets, specific neighborhoods, specific properties. But here's the difference. If you buy in a growing state, even if you overpay a little bit, you've got demographic trends on your side. You've got economic growth on your side. You've got migration patterns on your side. Over time, those fundamentals will bail you out. But if you buy in a dying state, even if you get a good deal, you're fighting against the tide. And fighting against the tide is exhausting and expensive. Let me give you an example. Let's say you buy a house in Austin, Texas for $600,000. And let's say you overpaid by $50,000 because the market is hot. That's not ideal, but you know what? Austin is growing like crazy. Companies are moving there. Young people are moving there. The job market is strong. In 5 or 10 years, that $50,000 overpayment won't matter because the market will have grown past it. But now let's say you buy a house in Hartford, Connecticut for $400,000. And let's say you got a great deal because the sellers were desperate. You think you're smart. But in 5 or 10 years, that house might be worth $350,000 because Hartford is shrinking. The economy is weak, people are leaving, you got a good deal on a bad investment. This is what most people don't understand about real estate. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. And value is determined by fundamentals, not by feelings. I don't care if you love the neighborhood or if you have great memories from visiting as a kid. The market doesn't care about your feelings. The market only cares about supply and demand. Now let me talk about something else that's happening right now. Interest rates. A lot of people are freaking out about interest rates. They're saying, Kevin, rates are higher than they've been in years. Should I wait to buy? And here's what I tell them. Interest rates matter, but they're not the only thing that matters. And in fact, sometimes higher interest rates create opportunities because they scare other buyers away. When everyone is scared, that's when you can find deals. But here's the key. You still need to buy in the right place. A high interest rate on a house in a growing market is better than a low interest rate on a house in a dying market. Because with the growing market, you can refinance later when rates come down. But with the dying market, you're stuck with a depreciating asset no matter what the interest rate is. I've been investing in real estate for 40 years. I've seen interest rates at 3% and I've seen them at 18%. And you know what I've learned? The rate matters less than the location. Always. Without exception. A good property in a good market will make you money at almost any interest rate. A bad property in a bad market will lose you money even if the rate is 0. So here's my advice to you. If you're thinking about buying a house, stop thinking about it as a place to live and start thinking about it as a business decision, because that's what it is. You're committing hundreds of thousands of dollars of capital. You're taking on debt. You're accepting risk. This is a business transaction. Treat it like one. Do your research. Look at the migration data. Look at the business climate. Look at the tax environment. Look at the job market. Look at the state's fiscal health. Look at crime rates. Look at school quality. Look at infrastructure. And then make a decision based on facts, not emotions. Because I promise you, the market will punish emotional decisions every single time. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Kevin, I already own a house in one of those 5 states. What should I do? And that's a tough question because selling a house is expensive. You've got realtor commissions, closing costs, moving expenses, and you might be underwater if you bought recently. So I'm not telling you to panic and sell immediately, but I am telling you to have a plan. If you're young and mobile, if you don't have deep roots keeping you in that state, seriously consider relocating. Look for opportunities in growing states. Look for jobs in growing markets because your biggest asset isn't your house. It's your ability to earn income. And you want to be in a place where economic opportunity is expanding, not contracting. If you're older, if you're close to retirement, if you have family ties that make moving difficult, then you need to be realistic about what your house is worth. Don't assume it's going to appreciate. Don't assume you're going to sell it for some huge profit. Plan for the possibility that it might be worth less when you're ready to sell, and make sure your retirement plan doesn't depend on tapping home equity that might not be there. And if you're a landlord, if you own rental properties in one of these states, watch your numbers like a hawk. As soon as your cash flow turns negative, as soon as the property stops making money, get out. Don't hold on hoping things will turn around, because in a declining market, hope is not a strategy. Hope is how you lose your shirt. Here's what I want you to understand. The American economy is going through a massive transformation. We're seeing a shift of economic power from the old guard states to the new emerging states. This isn't temporary. This isn't a blip. This is a fundamental restructuring that's going to play out over decades. And the real estate markets are reflecting that shift. The states that embrace free market principles, that keep taxes low, that welcome businesses, that treat their residents like customers instead of subjects, those states are going to thrive. And the states that continue down the path of high taxes, excessive regulations, and hostility toward business, those states are going to decline. It's that simple. You have a choice. You can ignore the warning signs. You can pretend that everything is fine. You can buy that house in California or Illinois or New York or New Jersey or Connecticut and hope that somehow, magically, things will work out. Or you can look at the data, you can accept reality, and you can make a smart decision that protects your wealth and sets you up for success. I've been very successful in my life, and you know why? It's not because I'm smarter than everyone else. It's because I'm willing to look at uncomfortable truths. I'm willing to change my mind when the facts change. I'm willing to go against the crowd when the crowd is wrong. And right now, the crowd is wrong about real estate in these 5 states. Now, I need you to do something for me. If this video opened your eyes, if it made you think differently about where you're going to invest your money, I need you to smash that like button right now. I need you to share this video with everyone you know who's thinking about buying real estate, because this information could save them from making a catastrophic financial mistake. And I need you to subscribe to this channel and become a member. This is where we tell the truth about money. This is where we don't sugarcoat things. This is where we give you the information you need to make smart decisions. You know what separates successful people from unsuccessful people? Successful people take action. They don't just consume information, they use it. So here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper right now. Write down where you're thinking about buying real estate. Write down the 5 factors I told you about: migration, business climate, taxes, regulations, and fiscal health. Then go research those factors for your target market. Spend a few hours, look at the data. Be honest with yourself about what you find. And if the data tells you that you're about to make a mistake, have the courage to change course. Don't let your ego get in the way. Don't let sunk costs trap you. Don't let other people's expectations control your decisions. This is your money. This is your future. This is your family's security. Protect it. I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The real estate market is unforgiving. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your plans. It only cares about fundamentals. And right now, the fundamentals in California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut are broken. You can choose to believe that, or you can choose to ignore it. But the market is going to do what the market is going to do, regardless of what you believe. I've given you the information. I've shown you the warning signs. Now it's up to you to decide what to do with it. Are you going to be the person who looks back in 5 years and says, I wish I had listened to Kevin? Or are you going to be the person who says, I'm so glad I paid attention and made a smart decision? The choice is yours. But remember, in business and in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. And right now, if you negotiate with a dying real estate market, you're going to lose. Don't be that person. Be smarter. Be better. Protect your money. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and make smart decisions. Your future self will thank you.